This is a brainstorming video, and here's what you need to know before we start. Earlier in this project, we've created a fantasy world where the heirs to the throne have to go through a sort of quest in order to be eligible to actually rule. In this video, we discuss what this quest entails. We had previously decided that there are elementals in this world who can control elements and are somehow involved in this quest. What we know about our main character at this point is that they are a shapeshifter or half-shapeshifter born or adopted into the royal family who has to go on this quest despite not wanting to and despite the current ruler hating shapeshifters. I had a thinking here, because this is a quest or mission that the heir to the throne of this particular country has to do in order to actually be eligible to ascend the throne.
Mm-hmm.
Potentially has something to do with the elementals. We said that before, traveling to their territories. And I had this thought that if you pick a territory or you feel drawn to a specific territory, and that, at least maybe according to legend, is supposed to set the tone for what your dynasty is going to be. So that if you go to the air elementals, then you are going to be someone who is hard on crime. If you go to the earth elementals, you're going to be one that cares for the poor. If you're going to do this, you're going to be strong in war and that kind of thing.
I kind of like it. I like the idea of you have to be approved by those elementals then. I'm an heir to the throne, I feel connected to fire elementals, and then I go to the fire elementals, they're like, no. And then either that's what strikes me, or I get to try another one. A connection between that instead, and they have to approve of you ruling them or something. I don't know.
Because that's a thing we have to consider as well. Are the elementals also this person's subjects? Or are they allies? Or are they just around?
Yeah.
Violet liked the idea. Yeah, each stand for something, like a political party or Hogwarts house. Yeah.
It's just a lot of things for them to stand for. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 different elementals here, at least.
I don't know, maybe instead of them actually standing for something, it's rather all of the rulers that have led us greatly in war have been approved by
the metal elementals. Yeah.
And so if the country is about to go to war, and you are the heir, or the person who wants to be the heir, you go to them and ask for their
blessing.
Yeah. Violet's saying that in real life there are a lot of political parties, but only a few ever in power. The elemental should want to be chosen as the winner. Do you mean so the heir or the ruler then chooses which elemental they want
co-rule with?
Their help? Yeah. They want to be their patrons. I don't know. So in order to be the ruler, you need to have at least one elemental group behind you.
And the more you have, the stronger you are as a ruler.
Yeah, could be. And it could be also then that... Okay, I haven't finished this thought.
That's what we're doing here.
Yes. If most rulers choose, I want the fire elementals on my side because they are the most powerful ones. I gotta think that somehow this country and this ruler is the thing that keeps balance among the elementals. Somehow, I don't know how, but maybe then they have to go to each territory of all the elementals and ask for their blessing.
Approval, blessing, yeah.
And what the other heirs have failed to do is to get all of them behind them.
Exactly. Yeah, that I like that. If the main character then has to go around getting approval from each group of elementals, each type. And then we also get to see a lot of different, for lack of a better word, territories. But then the question is, can an heir still ascend the throne being only backed by 5 elementals? 5 different kinds of elementals? or do they need the whole 9? Like, when do they fail? Is my question.
That is a good question.
Yeah, because I'm thinking it could also be. I know we said that the people earlier in line have failed or died or however choose to do that, and now it's the MC's turn to hopefully come back victorious. But it could also be that they're all sent out at once, and then they have to complete this quest of getting the backing of as many different kinds of elementals as possible in 3 months' time. And whoever returns with the most becomes the ruler. Because then that would be presumably the most balanced ruler is the wrong word. Say the MC goes out, knows nothing about how the other people are doing, and I only collected 6. I'm not gonna get to ascend the throne. And then they come back and no one else has managed more than 4. Oh, okay.
I don't know, because I'm also wondering if we were to go with they need as many elementals on their side as possible, can the elementals say the fire elementals go you too, you're good too.
They could back everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, what about if the elementals can only back 1 or 2? Because now I'm also thinking they all get sent out at the same time, but maybe not. If they're sent out at the same time, I'm thinking of this as a round map for some reason, and it's like a Trivial Pursuit thing with cake slices. And here, my 10 heirs, my 10 descendants, or however many there are, but go with 10, go forth, get the support of the elementals. And the 9 of them or something who aren't our MC are like, yes, I want to be the ruler. I know that fire is strong. I know that metal is strong, and I know that water is strong, if there is such a thing. I'm going to go off straight to them. So 9 people head into fire territory. Meanwhile, our MC is I'm just going to go look at some plants. And the 9 that are off with the fire elementals, they have to prove themselves. They have to, I don't think the fire elementals will just be you. I think they have to prove themselves to get that backing. And so only 1 or 2, depending on how many people they can back, will actually leave the fire territory being backed, which takes up a lot of time, which means they can't rally many elementals at once. They just go for the strongest ones. Our MC is over looking at plants and then accidentally helps a forest nymph that got stuck in a rock somewhere. And, they're like, we're going to back you. And they're like, okay. I didn't actually want to be there.
But if they don't want that, why are they going at all?
Yeah, that's a good point. Fine. Let's ignore what I said.
I really liked Violet's suggestion that the elemental had to give their magic to the ruler, but the other heirs can't handle it. They have to be able to harness the power themselves to rule, and only a royal blood human can lend power this way. But going to again, I really like this where the ruler of this country
has magic. Then
has magic, or is in order to become the ruler, you have to go to each of the elementals, and you have to gain their power. And what I'm thinking then is that it would be as simple as going there, doing something I don't know, maybe just touching a rock, and yay, you now have earth powers. If you can handle getting those powers.
Otherwise it kills you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what the other heirs have been doing, they have been going to all of these places and trying to get all of these powers, but they've all failed, either not gotten the powers or died trying, or
So it's a bit like a sword and a stone kind of thing.
A bit, yeah.
If you have to be deserving of it to be allowed it, sort of.
Yeah.
I imagine people going around that different ways too. Of no, but I will fight you until you let me touch your rock, or whatever it is. Whereas others are more no, won't you please let me touch your rock?
It also depends. Maybe the elementals have. It could be as in order to gain the mist power, you have to go through a forest full of mist, and you have to find your way and not starve to death on the way.
Yeah.
And in order to get the fire thing, you have to jump over a volcano.
Yeah, no, but there are quests within the quest.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah, if one combined these trials.
Yeah.
And like, yes, I have now jumped over this volcano. Okay, I'm gonna touch this rock. I can't handle it, I die. Or wait, nothing's happening, I'm not getting these powers.
Exactly. Because you might succeed with the test of jumping over the volcano.
Yeah.
But maybe that's not the true test. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. I never want to try to become ruler of this kingdom. I want to jump over any volcanoes.
Yeah, but what AV said too, if you want extra motivation, you could make it a deadline. Everyone of royal blood needs to do this, or they will become sick and die at a certain point. And like, it could be, I am not a big fan of like bloodlines and things like that. From a world building perspective, I'm not a fan of bloodlines because that, I mentioned that in my transgender writing videos, where like, why can't you just adopt a child if you can't have a child? Or maybe you don't want to have a child, but you can adopt one, or like.
True. And then if it's bloodlines, then that child is outside, like it doesn't count.
Yeah.
For those, yeah.
Yeah. But, I mean, this is magic. It doesn't have to care about blood. And I'm thinking, what if it's a thing that, like, it naturally happens? It's not every royal person has to do this, but it is that if there is no person who has all of these powers in your generation, at a certain point, either you just get the urge, like it's just a natural thing, you have to try this, you have, like, or it's you're starting to get symptoms and realize that, okay, now I have 6 months to try to do this or I will die. Then not everyone has to do it at the same time, and it can be like, okay, if the oldest person of the generation, or of the, because it could be that too, the oldest, instead of the there we go, instead of the line of succession being ruler, ruler's children, ruler's grandchildren, it can be the oldest of a generation. Okay.
This does also mean that only one person per royal generation survives.
Or that once, I was going to continue that, if the oldest person in that generation does all of these trials and gets all of these powers, they become the ruler, and magically none of the others start exhibiting these symptoms. None of the others have to do this.
Okay. But then, I mean, in the same generation, we're thinking everyone born in the same year.
No.
Everyone bigger than that.
Everyone in the generation.
And what entails a generation?
Everyone, like, the ruler and their siblings is one generation.
Okay.
Their children is the next generation.
Okay. So, I mean, that also means that there could be multiple people who are the same age within that generation.
Yeah.
There could be 15 people about to turn 18.
Yeah.
And have 6 months to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But I'm thinking that when the oldest person in that generation becomes 18 or some other age, they start exhibiting the symptoms, or they get this urge. And then they have to do this. And if they fail, the next person.
Yeah. I mean, the thing I'm thinking about that, though, is they could be very close in age.
Yeah, but I'm thinking it still doesn't happen.
Huh?
I'm thinking, say the oldest two are twins.
Yes.
The older of the twins, they turn 18, they start exhibiting these symptoms, and...
That means they have 6 months to do it.
Yeah. They try. After 4 months, they die because they fail to get the fire power. At that point, the younger twin, even though it's past their 18th birthday, but when this person is dead, the next person starts exhibiting these symptoms no matter their age, and as long as they've turned 18.
And they have another 6 months to go.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not like they only have 2 months left.
Well,
because that was my problem. I was like, that's really unfair.
Then the elementals can either give them the power of their element or remove it. Both results in you not dying by sickness. Yeah, you can either... It could be either you manage the trial and you get the power, or you manage the trial but you still don't get the power, but the elementals heal you, or the fact that you manage the trials heals you. Or you manage the trial, try to get the power, but die.
One way to make it more interesting. Because, like, okay, I'm jumping over this volcano. I made the jump. I didn't die. Check for the first thing.
Yeah.
I touched this rock or whatever it is. It didn't kill me. Check.
Yeah.
But maybe at that point, I don't know if I got the power or not. So maybe you're like, oh, I survived both the jump and touching the thing. Do I have the power? I won't know until I've been around to all the places. Or maybe, I don't know, if you get the power of those elementals and like, you know, I got the firepower, now I can use fire. Maybe you need that down the line.
Yeah.
You need the power to climb a mountain.
I had a very similar thought.
Yeah.
That what happens when it's your turn is not that you start exhibiting any symptoms, but that you get a power.
Oh, and you get one of them.
You get one power, maybe not an elemental power, but a different power. You need that power in order to get through the mist trial. And then you get the mist power when you've done that, and you need both of these two to get through the next one.
Does that mean that everyone gets the same non-elemental power? Or does the power that they get, like if I wake up and, ooh, I can see in the dark, that's my power, which isn't an elemental power, then going through mist might be easy, I don't know. But if I instead woke up and I could suddenly move objects with my mind, then, I shouldn't go for mist from the start. I should go for earth. I can move a mountain.
Yeah, maybe, because it also makes sense that the trial is always different.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, like, you always get the power to see in the dark. That means you always start by going through the dark tunnels to get to the ground elementals. But it's always the same route, so it means that, well, even if you can't see in the dark, well, I know that I'm going to take 5 steps that way because my older relative have told me this.
Yeah.
So if the thing is always different.
I like that. Yeah. And you wake up with a non-elemental power.
Yeah.
So then we have to figure out powers too.
Yes.
No, I like that. Yeah. And then you the more you, I mean, that also makes sense because then you get the more powerful you get, the more powers you harness.
Yeah.
I should have said that in the opposite direction. The more powers you harness, the more powerful you get.
Yes.
I like that.
Yeah.
The chat has been.
Yes.
Oh yeah, you're up there. Good.
Yeah. AV agrees that it would be more fun if it's something other than by bloodline. And in this, it doesn't really. We don't need to know what it is.
I mean, this also makes me think that maybe it's not just royal offspring, but we could have it be just in the royal family. We could do that.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, in a way, with this, anyone could wake up with a power one day.
Yeah.
For causes explained maybe in the world, in the story.
Yeah.
But maybe they don't have to be descendants of that.
Yeah, potentially. Violet says they thought only royals
could harness power,
but anyone can.
Even an adopted shapeshifter.
Yeah.
I like that.
And that, like, they could have made it a thing of bloodline where it's not actually.
And that way, like, that's kind of how they kept themselves in power too.
Yeah.
Even though, occasionally some people in some generations die off. Oh well, the royal family is still the core thing here. Like, you need to be blood related. That's what they've said.
Yeah. But then I'm thinking, if it's say it's not blood related, but it is, you have to be part of the family. But they have said that, well, it has to be blood related. But now we find out that actually this adopted kid also got it. They are definitely not blood related, but
it's more nurture than nature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're getting to the strategy of what order to do it and the waking up with a power. Waking up with a power is fun because what if you wake up and still nothing? It can help with creating suspense just by the fact that the character will know after they wake up next day.
Yeah. Yeah, so like I jumped over the volcano, didn't die, touched the rock, didn't die, but did I actually get firepower? Who knows?
Yeah, don't know until you wake up next time.
Yeah.
How do you sleep that night?
Exactly. You just trudge around for 3 days, not getting any rest, and you're like, I still don't know if I have the firepower or not. And they're like, just go to bed. I can. What if I wake up in a fiery inferno? If you fail, do you still have till you're 6 months into it for someone else to manage, or are you doomed to die?
No, I'm thinking that once you have survived the trial, you are safe from dying, even if you don't.
You know a rule. Okay.
Yeah. I just want to say that could be a powerful opening. The MC waking up with powers and knowing that yesterday the person who was on the quest has died. Yeah. Yeah, that could be if it's guaranteed that you either survive or get. Oh, that is so scary though. What? That is so scary though. If okay, so the trial might kill you. Yeah. If you survive, you touch a relic or something to gain the power. you might die from this too, or survive and get no power.
Mm-hmm.
If we say that no, you either die or you get a power, but you don't know it until the next time you wake up. So when you fall asleep that night, you know that either you're gonna die and never wake up again, or you're gonna wake up with this power, and you have no way of knowing which one.
And you have a chance to go through that 9 times.
Yeah. That is so terrifying. I love it.
Yes. I knew you would. I knew you would.
Do you?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that also, I mean, I'm not saying you will be able to tick off one of these challenges a day. You know, it's going to take time in between them.
Yeah.
But like when you wake up with powers, and like the first time you wake up and you're like, oh shit, I should go on this quest. It's not just, oh shit, I should go on this quest. It's also like, oh. I like that though. That's terrifying.
Yeah. Well, cool. So you might die.
And that's also the only way for people to know that you died too. Someone else wakes up with a power and you're just dead in the woods somewhere. Or in a volcano. Or...
Yeah, Evie likes it.
I'm glad it was your idea.
Yes. And you're right, it's quite terrifying. Great potential for a lot of emotions, yeah?
Yeah. I'm also curious though, like, is this... When you wake up with the power, do you have to leave alone? Or do you get to bring a fellowship? Or a friend? Or a llama?
It is in fact the case that you have to bring a llama.
Luckily, our MC is a llama farmer.
Or a llama shapeshifter.
You don't just have to bring a llama, you have to be a llama. Go against the
Be
grain.
the llama.
Be the llama.
Yes.
I mean, okay, question. Everyone that the history knows about who's come before to do this challenge has been fully human. You wake up and you can see in the dark, and so you can make it through the mist, and then you harness those powers, and you can so on. The shapeshifter has an advantage, because not only do they wake up and in this example can see in the dark, they can also shapeshift. I can shapeshift into a cat and have extra good night vision. Owl would be a better animal. I need to sprint to make the jump over this volcano. I'm now a jaguar.
Although I imagine that would also mean that the trials are going to be more difficult, because I
for
think
that person.
Yeah, because I think the trials, like, they magically happen, and they magically put themselves so they are like just on the edge of being too dangerous for this person.
I mean, it has to be a challenge. You can't be like, oh, just skip over this puddle. Yay! Here's the reward.
Yeah.
And that also means that they've completed the most difficult challenges.
Yeah.
In the history of challenges.
So they're more worthy than anyone else.
AV saying maybe you could bring people because the NC is a bit of an outsider. Nobody wants to come with. And so only the best friend. Yeah, I'm not thinking the MC would go with a whole band of people. And I am also thinking that there should be some sort of rule about like the people who come with you can't interfere, but that some people try that. Like, oh, yeah, I brought a couple soldiers. What, you mean they can't fight?
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking that I don't think there can really be a rule about you have to go alone, partially because it wouldn't be a very fun story.
I like that they get to bring a friend or two. Like,
I mean, I think they get to bring however many people they want, but maybe the however many people you bring, you are the only one who can do the trial.
Yeah.
The other people don't get a chance to help. Again, magic.
Yeah. Is there a cap on how many llamas you can bring?
No. Why would there be a cap on llamas?
Exactly. They would look really cute with a cap on. They already look really cute.
Yes.
Yeah, and you need to complete all of the trials and harness all of the powers.
Yeah.
To become ruler.
Yeah.
Does this happen when the ruler is already dead? No, it just happens at your 18th birthday or whatever.
Yeah.
And then if you succeed, then when the ruler dies, you will ascend the throne.
Yeah.
Okay. What about the powers? What powers can you wake up with? Is that something we should figure out at this point?
I don't know, because if everyone gets different powers, we only need to figure out what our MC gets.
True.
I'm thinking in future world building we might have to go further into this, but right now
just to keep it brief. Yeah.